Hi, so my name is Taryn, and basically I feel lost. Like I'm sure you do too if you clicked on this video. I feel lost in the sense that, society expects you to do certain things, be in certain places, have certain things, obtain certain goals by a particular age, when in actual fact it's unrealistic for the vast majority of people. There's just too much pressure on us as humans, and we see it all the time on social media constantly. These young men and women who are so successful and living out their dream life, and you think, oh, I'm doing something wrong because I don't have that. Well, in actual fact, they're the minority. The majority of us at that age, including myself, I'm 24, just don't have it figured out, don't know what we're doing, still trying to make sense of the world, and that it's impossible. And I'm also not bashing them for, living their life, being successful, obtaining their goals, fantastic for them. But I don't want people to look at that and view that as the norm and feel bad because I know I did. For years, I compared myself constantly to these people online who were, doing all these things at such a young age, and I told myself that that was what I needed to do by that age. But I've made my own personal achievements, and that's the thing. Everybody's on a different journey. I find this particularly true when it comes to, expensive items or designer items or luxuries or, going on fantastic holidays all the time and stuff. I think that, a lot of what you see online, then because it's reinforced so much in every way. My journey began straight out of school. I felt lost. I took a gap year trying to figure myself out. I got super fit. That took over my life for a while. But then when the new year came around and I began studying a business degree, I ended up hating it and I left. And then of course I felt so lost. But even when I was studying that degree, I felt so lost because it just didn't feel like it was authentic to me. It didn't feel like it was my path. After that year of self-reflection, I began studying another course, and this one I thought might work for me because it was flexible and I could study from home, and that was all fine, but there was a lot of practical components to the course, and it was something that I really tried to do and found that it was really difficult for me. Leaving that again, and of course that made me feel again lost. I then found a course that was amazing for me, that I loved so much, and it was so much fun. I had amazing friends. I was learning interesting things that appealed to me, that were going to be relevant to me. And then moving overseas this year completely changed everything for me. I began studying again a different course, also in the fashion industry, and while I liked it, I felt that something just wasn't right about it for me. Wasn't quite right for me. It didn't speak to my authentic self and my path. And I always feel that you want to try and be as passionate as you can about something, and of course I understand there are people who need to make ends meet. There are people who need to pay bills, and you do have what you have to do in order to do that. But if you have the choice to change your situation and you're not happy with it, then change it. Some days I feel like I'm on top of the world and I'm doing all these productive things and I'm trying to better myself and learn all these exciting things. But then there's some days where I get really down because I feel like what I'm doing is completely pointless, and what am I doing? There's no objective to what I'm doing, and then I begin to feel so lost again. And it can just drive you insane, to be honest, that whole cycle. It's so toxic and it's so bad for your mental health. I mean, I just wish that I'd had somebody to tell me this when I was younger, and to remind me that I'm not alone, and there's tons of people who feel the same way. I think it would have made a big difference to my younger self in particular, who used to feel very guilty about, all of the things that I'm talking about right now, feeling guilty about not having achieved things, not having, you know, finished a degree, being in a job or anything right now, and just kind of working on self-development. I would have been so down on myself about that, but it was and is exactly what I need at this point. So this is a reminder not to feel down about yourself or beat yourself up if you haven't landed that dream job, or if you're not married with a baby by 21. Like, it just seems to be this norm in this influencer world, and I don't mean that in a bad way, of course, but I'm just saying that you shouldn't beat yourself up if you're not on that path, and if you haven't gotten those things or whatever else you might have wanted. The point is, you're not alone if you feel lost and if you feel that you don't know where you're going. You need to be flexible and remember that there's so many options. And I think that's something that people forget. When we feel so lost, all we focus on is the negative and feeling really down on ourselves, when in fact being lost can actually be a privilege, because it can help us see what we truly want, what our desires are, and how we can take steps to get there. If you're feeling lost, then welcome to the club, because I think a lot of us are feeling